Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So I'm going to make an attempt to do a 11-mile drive with FSD Beta 10.11, which just came out for me today. So I am engaging it now. Let's see if we have no interventions. I'm just going to post this basically as raw video, so I may be talking, I may not. I may be singing to myself, who knows what the heck's going to go on. This is interesting. I don't know why this thing's decided it's way over in the side. Okay. Anyway, so it's just FYI, so everybody understands, I'm in control of the car. The car is driving itself. I've got either my right hand or my left hand on the wheel at all times to make sure that it is driving properly, but the car is navigating itself, it's driving itself. You can see it just came to a complete stop. It's a lovely evening today. I have another video that I'm going to be posting. I don't know which order. It'll either come out before this one or after this one, where I tried to kind of stress test this vehicle. Like, I stress test the FSD, not the vehicle itself. But anyway, so I put it into some nasty situations. This is just a commute. I'm going to choir at the University of Georgia because we have a concert in 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks from now. So anyway, and it will be streamed. So actually, if anybody's interested, just message me on Twitter or something like that, or I can post on Twitter, I guess, our actual thing. This FYI is kind of annoying because there's nobody behind me, so I'm not going to worry about it, but it shouldn't stop here. It should actually stop at the stop line up here. I've sent that message to Tesla many times, so they don't need to see it again from me. But anyway, yeah, it's just kind of, that's weird. But 10.11 does a really nice job. It's a better job and a smoother job of pulling out into traffic when it decides to go, so that's really good. Anyway, so that's what I got. I will carry on a stream of consciousness, talk about this as I wish, and actually rehearsal starts at 6:30, so I should be there just a couple of minutes early, which will be good. It's always a positive sign to be early for a rehearsal. I sing second tenor, by the way, if anybody's interested. More of a baritone, but that kind of nobody does baritone, so anyway, at least not for choir positions, so I sing tenor 2. Sometimes I'll sing bass 1, but most of the time in this choir, tenor 2, in case anybody actually cares. If you haven't seen it, the beta release notes are online. I did a whole review of that this morning. You should definitely check those out. I will put a card at the end of the video so that you can, or the final screen, so that you can actually check that out if you're interested, because I think it's well worth taking a look at that. There's a lot of improvements, including intersection modeling, which should make the intersections look a lot cleaner and more consistent. So again, I think it's really cool that it's actually modeling this little trident thingy, whatever that is there. So all right, so now we'll just wait at the light. You can skip forward until you see me start moving again. This is actually, it is a protected left. I take that back. The other direction has their own light, so the sequence goes such that that we actually have a green arrow here. I almost never go this way when I'm driving myself. I always go around behind the mall because I get to avoid all of these lights by doing that. So, but I wanted to actually try this drive out. It's going to be uncut, whole thing. I'm just sort of curious whether it can do the whole drive. There's a couple of funky things, mostly towards the end, although it does have to get over excuse me, several lanes of traffic during this drive to get onto the highway. The highway will be probably the least interesting part because, again, it's still using the old stack. Apparently version 11 of the software, whenever we get that, will actually have the new stack. So that's going to be, fingers crossed, that should be really cool and interesting. In the meantime, we just kind of sit and chill and watch all this stuff go by. So yeah, there you go. All right. I guess I must have just missed the light. I can't see. There's a little walking dude there, but I can't quite see whether he's there or not. Oh, now the light's turning yellow. Okay, finally. So we'll have the green light in just a second, and obviously there's no cross traffic and nobody's in the way. So let's see how smoothly it can handle this turn. Oh, okay, that was actually a slight improvement. The way that it kind of accelerated out was a little bit nicer than it's done in the past. It's been a little more hesitant, a little more jerky. This light up here causes, I don't know why, but this light causes it all kinds of problems. We'll see what happens here, because actually now it's following a car, so hopefully it will do better. But as it goes through this light, if it's just by itself, it always slows down to almost a stop. And I have no idea why. I really don't understand that. Okay, so here we should see that it needs to get over 2 lanes of traffic. It hasn't turned that car blue yet, so there it goes. Okay, so it's thinking about it now. All right, now it should be making the turn. Okay, and now it needs to do it again. There we go. So that's okay under the circumstances. Coming in a little bit hot. That's okay under the circumstances, but honestly, if this traffic was heavier, if it was like rush hour, you'll see in my other video I took it out during rush hour when it was really, traffic everywhere. And then it didn't do quite as well, but it just doesn't plan quite early enough. It needs to get over into these lanes a little bit faster. So, anywho, all right, just to check, I'm going to look and make sure, but there's nobody around. It's generally not done fantastic in terms of these merges. Yeah, you can see how it's merging just too late. It should be merging at the beginning of the merge cycle, not at the end of the merge cycle, I guess, if that makes sense. So, anyhow. All right, and then the next part, like I said, this should all be relatively boring for the next 6.9 miles. So you can actually fast forward about 6.5 minutes or so, 6 minutes, to get to the end of this. I doubt, I'll let you know if anything happens, but I don't think anything's going to happen on this part of the drive. But again, I'm including it just to show I haven't touched the gas, I jiggled the steering wheel just to make sure that it knows I'm still alive. It is paying attention to my vision, and actually I just agreed with this version of the full self-driving software to allow it to use the camera internally to send feedback back to Tesla. So I think that's really cool. I mean, it's good that they asked. I said yes, because I obviously want to help them improve the software, and one of the ways I want to help them improve it is so that I don't have to keep holding the steering wheel. It actually turns out to be kind of honestly annoying to have to do that, because the way you hold it, it just never seems to be quite adequate, and so it's always asking you to jiggle the steering wheel a little bit to put a little pressure on it. So I find that annoying. I would much rather the faster that they can get the camera-based system working for the most part, and that the thing can tell that you're watching the road and paying attention, and you don't have to use your hands anymore. The faster they can do that, the happier I'm going to be. So I was like, absolutely, use my data. Hopefully it'll help to get the that part of the full self-driving thing working. Obviously, Ford, oh gosh, what is it called? Ford Blue? Not Ford Cruise. Whatever, Ford Blue, I think is what it's called. But anyway, that actually does use a camera-based system. It's kind of poor, because it doesn't really, it doesn't do anything in terms of actually handling like even a curve of that magnitude. All right, so is it going to get over? Yep, okay. So that was kind of rude. It actually pulled over just about the time that this Dodge Ram here decided to go around me on the slow lane. Yeah, Dodge Dakota, sorry. Anyway, it was fine. Like he was far back and it wasn't dangerous, but it was just, the car should have actually thought about getting over a little bit sooner than it did. So, but I don't know. Anyway, I've got it on assertive mode, which means that it tends to ride in the fast lane a little more frequently. I tend to not like to do that. I like to hang out in the slow lane. My line is always, you are the slowest driver unless it's proven otherwise. So that's why I'm always assuming that I should stay in the slow lane, unless there's a problem. So obviously you can see that it turned red. It knew that VW bug was there. Beetle. And actually that was a really good move, because you can see how far away this truck was. So it could detect that we were catching up to this truck a long ways away and moved into the fast lane. So that's actually a very nice move on its part. And let's see, there's a BMW behind us, so I can't imagine purchasing a Mercedes or BMW anymore. I just, like, if you're going to spend $50,000 or more on a car, I just can't imagine spending it on that as opposed to a Tesla. I don't know. Maybe other people disagree, but it just seems like a waste of money to me, because the car is not going to, if you can't afford to spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a car, then by all means, you got to still buy a nice car if you have to buy a car today. I would try to buy used if I was in that situation. But but I certainly would not spend the equivalent cost of this car on an internal combustion engine car of any variety. It just makes no sense at all. So those are my thoughts. You're welcome to disagree with me about that. All right, 2.6 miles to go. Yeah, like I said, this was going to be relatively boring. Shouldn't be an awful lot of stuff happening right now for that. This is a situation coming up here, and this is something that I really hope that they fix. Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know if it did that on purpose or not, but I always, when I come up on entrances to highways, I always move into the fast lane if traffic allows that, just to keep from things slowing down. I don't know if that was just an accident because this, oh gosh, it's a Soul? Yeah, Kia Soul. Anyway, I think it was because it was coming up on that car and it just happened to move over at that time. But anyway, it did the right thing. It just, I think it did it for the wrong reasons. But anyway, I like always chastise the car. In fact, when I'm driving, I always push the left turn stalk down to make it go into the fast lane, to make it get out of the way of cars. Again, assuming it's safe, I'm not going to do that if I'm jamming up other cars in the other lane and stuff. But when it's safe to do so, it just keeps all that gridlock potential from happening. All right. Getting close. The interesting part will kick back on again. So the last like mile and a half or so is through campus. There will be pedestrians around, crosswalks, potentially buses, people driving goofy, going around a roundabout into a parking lot. So there's a lot of potential gotchas coming up on this part. Need to work on warming up my singing voice. Woo! It's been a day. It's been busy. All right. So again, it didn't get out of that lane. There was nobody coming in this case, but I would have gotten over just to make sure that there was no potential for gridlock there. But car got lucky. Again, it's not dangerous. It just is kind of a jerky move for it not to get out of the way and to kind of potentially block up traffic. Okay, so now we're taking this exit. So in case you were fast forwarding, we're now getting off the highway. And you missed all the insightful conversation. I mean, it was the bon mot, the repartee. So I believe this thing usually likes to go into the far left-hand lane, which under these circumstances is the correct move since it's empty. There we go. All right. But then the problem with that is it does have to get over 2 lanes after this. So not a problem. There's definitely plenty of room, but it does set itself up slightly awkwardly. Okay. So the walk guy's on, so it's going to be a few seconds before we start doing anything. And yeah, so anyway, if you want to zoom out a little bit, you can see we're going to make a left, make a right, go through here. This is a little bit of a roundabout, then up into the parking lot. All right. I've hit 2 lights at a pretty severe pace so far today. Wow, I actually am a lot faster. I don't know why it said 624 originally. I seem to have gotten here much more quickly than it thought I was going to, which, I don't know. It's not like I was doing anything crazy. The car was driving itself and it wasn't even going that fast, but I guess it was a little faster. All right, 18 seconds now. So I guess people might be still fast forwarding because why would you want to watch me sitting in a traffic light? But again, I don't want to cut anything. I want to make it a complete video so that everybody can see that it is doing what it's doing. And if I have to intervene, I will definitely let you know. You'll probably notice because the little blue thing will go off. And we now should get a green light any second. There we go. All right. So the car is going to have to now navigate over into the right-hand lane in order to be ready to make another right-hand turn. So it's doing that right away. There's a BMW behind us, but it seems to be letting us in. Cool. All right. And we should be able to go. We also now have to navigate into the right-hand lane here. So let's see if we can handle that. Okay. A little bit late. All right. That was weird. That was a little bit of a, I don't know why it stopped. It came to a rather violent stop. I don't know why it did that. So again, there's a person behind me, but okay. It yielded a little excessively under the circumstances. Nobody was around, but let's knock this down. going through campus, I like to go at a pretty stately pace because it can be scary, just depending on what's going on. So, all right. There was a little bit of a slowdown there. I'm not exactly sure what it was thinking. Maybe it thought that car was going to pull out. You can see all of the pedestrians or people waiting at the bus stop, and they're being visualized there, so that's cool. And nice roads. And now we have to, so this is a big roundabout, but okay, so let's see. No turn signal, but I think it probably should have used a turn signal there, but that's fine. And let's see if any of these pedestrians up here, oh, yep, they are, okay. So, hopefully we'll slow down in plenty of time. Yeah, it visualizes them. As long as it visualizes them, it's usually pretty good. Oh, nice. That was actually handled just perfectly. It slowed down at a very gentle pace. It didn't go crazy. It let them go by as soon as they were by. It was happy to let them go by. All right, so let's see. it's like it's twitching, getting ready to go. Okay, go for it, buddy. There's a person behind you. All right, a little bit slow there. So again, it could just be a little more assertive when it starts going, but this is the parking lot, so I'm gonna let it finish driving up here. So that was 0 interventions, a couple of little goofy spots, but oh my gosh, I mean, at this point we're going from potentially dangerous situations to, all right, we're going from potentially dangerous situations to just inconvenient situations. So I think that that's pretty remarkable to see that. I have taken over at this point because it can be a little, I don't know why does it say it's in cruise control still? I don't know. We're definitely not in cruise control. I don't know why it's complaining about that. But anyway, it's going from situations where it could have been very dangerous if I didn't take over to now I might take over under some circumstances simply because it's an inconvenience to, yeah, it still apparently was in cruise control. Very weird. Didn't register that as being on. So anyway, I think that is a pretty big win, and the full self-driving is working fantastic. So, wow, good job.